Thanks for joining us today on the Man Blitz. I'd just like to take a moment to remind you to follow us on Twitter at Man Blitz. Visit us at www.3manblitz.com. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker, and don't forget to view us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks, guys.
Welcome, boys and girls, to another episode of Man Blitz. With me, I got my co-host, Andrew, Jeremy, and of course, your boy yourself, Queasy. Talking about the NFL this week. See what's going on. A couple high points, couple low points. But first, of course, gotta take a little drink if you don't mind.
Let's drink.
If you don't mind.
While we're drinking, we just talk about how crazy the season's been up to this point. Like, all the injuries. You'd think it'd be mostly COVID stuff, but it's really been injuries.
Yeah, and
COVID here and there.
That lets you know something about the preseason and the time these guys put into their body if they have time to, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's not even to begin to talk about the ramifications of like your fantasy leagues and stuff. Like, the best guy in like our league is like 5-3.
Exactly.
It's just impossible to keep up with all these injuries.
Speaking of injuries, let's jump right into it. Your man Tua in Miami got his first start. What are you guys thinking about it?
Go ahead, Andrew.
His first start was a win, so that's always, coming from the top, that's the place to be. You got to win, but you only did just enough to get a win. You were what was it? He was 12 for 22, I believe, and 93 yards and a touchdown. He got a touchdown, no interceptions. But of course, Aaron Donald come in on his first drop back and got that strip sack. Said, "Hey boy, welcome, Phil. This is the big leagues. Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the NFL." But I will say that he held it together. He was poised. He had the receivers had a lot of drop balls. Wasn't all necessarily his fault. But, man, the defense and special teams held them in that game. But the schedule really loosens up a lot for him moving forward. So I expect to see some big things. They didn't bench Fitzmagic for nothing, you know. I mean.
It's about that time he is the future. I'm going to say it like that. I don't want to say it was time, but – definitely was the future. Jeremy, you got any highlights on that game?
Oh, man, it's just kind of going off what Andrew just said, and what you're saying too is the future. But as a look into his first start, it really wasn't that impressive. Granted, they were going up against the Rams. Rams' defensive line especially is real stingy. But they did come away with a win, which is a big deal. He threw for under 100 yards. I'm not impressed. If we're just talking about Tua, we're not talking about the Dolphins. I mean, to me, at this point, I'm still more of a Fitzpatrick guy. I know what he can do. He's got a high ceiling. His floor is a little low, too, so he's all over the spectrum. But he was playing really well, and, we don't really know a ton on Tua in the NFL.
All right.
Right now, I hope this is like an outlier for his future and it's not something to look forward to because it's not the Tua that we were seeing at Alabama.
And, of course, we haven't seen much of him in the NFL.
That's true.
Let me throw it back to you, Andrew. Compared to the other rookie quarterbacks you've seen this year so far, how does he stack to that?
I mean, you got guys like Justin Herbert, who's been lighting it up out there with the Chargers. He's not necessarily coming away with all the wins. There's something going on out there with the Chargers, but we'll get to that later. Joe Burrow, man, he just pulled up and upset the Titans. I mean, I was not predicting that. It's one game. I don't really have enough. And it's against a really good defense, like Jeremy pointed out. So give me 2 or 3 more weeks.
But even with saying that, I know I've seen Herbert and Burrow the first games, and it was like, these guys are pretty legit.
Yeah, they're passing the eye test.
And, they're passing the eye test, as you say. Yeah, yes, it's passing the eye test. To me, Tua did not. And, again, I don't want to knock the young man. Hopefully he will stand out like he did in Alabama. But, just for that eye test on that first game against the Rams, what I would consider an average team in a sense, it wasn't no standout in a sense. But it is the Dolphins.
I mean, I'll agree saying that, if I thought that Tua was going to be throwing 22 times, he'd have over 100 yards.
Yeah.
100-yard benchmark for a quarterback in the NFL isn't very impressive. It should be, the benchmark's like 150, maybe 200 and a couple scores. And, he's under 100. Mm-hmm. It's not impressive.
And
I'm not impressed.
Let me throw this out there. Speaking of throwing, some teams have to do that. Of course, the Miami Dolphins don't have a lot of stars on their team. But one thing they definitely do not have is a running game.
Mm-mm.
So again, that's why I was expecting more out of the passing game, but did not have it.
Oh man, I've got those stats right here. 55 yards on 25 carries. Yee.
Yeah,
Yee. You don't want your offense getting one-dimensional.
exactly.
I would say that Myles Gaskin's been their starting running back, and he's not been doing terrible.
No.
I think he got rolled up a little bit. I think he got hurt up in that game.
Well, let's be honest. The whole team has not been doing terrible. They've actually been definitely overperforming they're overachieving where I thought they would be. But at this point, I would be willing to chalk this up to an off week for this offense and see what we have moving forward because they have a fairly easy schedule. So we'll see. But, I mean, he's got to get clicking with these receivers.
Oh, definitely. That'll come in time. One last thing with you, Jeremy. Let's go with you.
Let's go.
How do you feel about his injury history? Are you worried about that right now?
I'm very worried about it, and I didn't really watch a ton of the game. I saw some highlights, so I don't know how they were, doing the play calling and stuff. But I would imagine that they're going to try to take it as easy on him as they can. They're not going to want him to run around. He's had a lot of he had that hip injury that he's been nursing, so this is his first game back since, correct? And he's had some other injuries, so I would be very worried about it. But you can't act and can't throw him out there and pretend that he's made of porcelain either. You got to send him out there and see what he can do because, I mean, he is your future. I'd rather know sooner than later, I guess. And, if you have to move on. But I'm worried about it. I'd say mid-level because he's been hurt ever since I've known about him here or there.
No problem with that. All right, keep it moving right now. Let's talk about that ugly NFC East. We have our Eagles at 3-4, dominating. We got those Washington, at 2-5. We got our Cowboys, America's team, at 2-6, and bringing up the rear, if you want to call it the rear, maybe sitting beside them. It's the Giants at 1-7.
It's the rear of the rear.
Who do you have? Yeah. Who do you have? Who do you even think is going to win? Because again, whoever wins this division is going into the playoffs. Shit like that. That's ugly. So, Jeremy, let me start with you. Who do you think is going to win this NFC East?
I mean, you have to go with the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, any team that I name out here is going to leave a bad taste in my mouth. And anybody that's listening, who's it going to be? I would definitely say it's not the Cowboys, who I would have said before all the injuries at quarterback it would have been because they have so much talent. But the Eagles have so many injuries, yet they continue to get at least a few wins. And, I'm looking at Washington. Washington could make some noise. I like that front seven that they've got, but I don't really like what they're doing on offense. I do like Antonio Gibson. And the Giants they find ways to lose games. And their best players out.
Hey,
so
we can say find ways to lose games to each one of these teams.
Each one. Well, it's basically the same as it was last year, except more injuries. Because
exactly,
who's going to back their way into? That's what it looks like. It's not who's going to win and take over the NFC East. It's who's going to back their way in and have to win the division. That's the way it feels.
I got you, Andrew. Who's the team you riding with?
Man, I was going to say the Cowboys as well. Even with the Dak Prescott injury, I was thinking maybe with the return of Andy Dalton after his concussion, they might, things just might start clicking. But
not anymore.
No, not anymore. Give me just a second.
Well, okay. I'm gonna mention this.
I was gonna say, but I'm gonna have to pick the Eagles at this point, and I've got some more to comment on the Cowboys later. But Carson Wentz, man, he's 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions on the season with a 49.9 quarterback rating. Man, let's see. And he had a lot of turnovers this past game, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just ugly.
2 fumbles, I know.
Let me ask
2
you a
interceptions.
Question, Andrew.
Yeah.
Who's their backup?
Oh, their backup is my boy, old Jalen Hurts.
And they bring him in some packages, and he doesn't look bad.
They do.
He throws the ball occasionally. He looks good.
Is it time to start Hurts?
Hey,
I don't think so. Look at it this way. If this was like a Tua moment, and and you're second in the division, so they're still kind of in it, but you're leading the division. Find a way to win. And Wentz doesn't necessarily lose you the games, but they have so many injuries. Why would you do that to Hurts?
He does
I would bring
not.
him in a lot more. Maybe you just play him more.
He doesn't have a lot of talent around him either. Philly, they're hurting for receivers, man. So.
I think they have decent receivers, but they just all just injured.
They are. Hell, even Miles Sanders is out, and they've got Boston Scott in there as their running back.
I think they have a decent offense in a sense, but they're just so injury prone. I don't know what's in the water in Philadelphia, but I do not want to drink it.
I don't know what kind of condition.
There or San Fran, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, San Fran's got to have the most injuries, and they just keep piling up.
Exactly.
It seems like if you're a starter in San Fran, you might as well just go home.
Yeah. Last thing for me for the NFC East, I love my Falcons, but I do see the Cowboys somewhat like them, and I'm saying that because when you look at them on paper, they have so much talent, but yet have a horrible record. On the wide receiver end, on the quarterback end, on the running back end, you have great, very decent guys, but horrible records. But I do think there's a horrible, a bad attitude, aura, whatever you want to call it, with the Cowboys that just brings them down.
Speak on it, Andrew. Go ahead, man.
Okay.
All right.
Let me get you.
Okay. All right.
What is going wrong with them Cowboys, Andrew?
What is it?
With them Cowboys. Okay, so we all thought that it was Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett packs his bags, hits the road. You basically got the same crew coming back with the addition of a couple of rookies, a couple of guys you signed in the offseason, whatever. And Mike McCarthy, he's savior. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. He brings with him a new defensive coordinator who has not been a defensive coordinator since the 2016 season. And he says, all right, time to fix this. Well, their defense is absolute trash. And their offense was fantastic. Their offense was great up until the injury of Dak Prescott, who they did not pay.
Nope.
So I did a little digging myself. I was like, "What is going on?" Queasy said, "Andrew, I want you to dig into this Dallas team, see what's going on." I dug up that Jerry Jones is a cancer for this team. He micromanages ridiculously. And he's trying to live in the golden years of Cowboys football, and it is definitely not the golden years of Cowboys football. It's not what it was. He's an egomaniac. He brings the team down. And from what I'm hearing, the camaraderie in the locker room as far as the team goes is fantastic. It's this, it's that. But you're not going to fix it with a head coach. It's a state of mind, this team. It absolutely is, because they have all the talent in the world, and they can't do anything with it. Dak Prescott should have been paid. I'm going to die on this hill, even if I die there by myself. I do like how they paid Amari Cooper. I like how they paid Zeke. So they're taking care of some of these guys. But
defensive linemen and offensive linemen, too. They paid all of them.
They are overpaying the hell out of these defensive linemen, though. You're paying like so much money to these guys, and they're not doing anything. And so they traded Everson Griffin to the Vikings, and so he's gone. And are you trying to send a message like, hey, we're paying you and you're not doing what we're paying you to do? So, somebody's head's got to roll. But there's way too much.
Correct. I'm going to cut you off. If I'm correct, they made a couple offseason pickups. I'm going to say like 5 or 6, just off the top of my head. And they got rid of about 5 of them, almost all of them except for 1. So that's not a good sign.
No. They're way too much money to be getting the results they're getting. The Cowboys should be one of the teams that should be in Super Bowl contention that we're talking about, not scraping the bottom of the barrel like 3rd place in the freaking NFC East. Like, come on now.
Exactly.
But McCarthy was a terrible hire. I will also die on that hill.
Yeah. I know that their defense has been sketchy. Every time the wide receiver goes against them, they've been dominating wherever that wide receiver is. I think one of our videos we did who to start, and I picked up Odell Beckham. I said him because he was playing against the Dallas Cowboys, and that was one of the games that he did shine very, very brightly. You've seen the old Odell in that game, but it's because of that defense.
Well, let me say this:
I definitely think the owner is a cancer.
If you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, and you've got these corners out here trying to cover on an island on these receivers for 5 or 6 seconds at a time, you are never going to win that battle, especially like OBJ. It's not going to happen.
No. So what's your thoughts on how about Ezekiel Elliott? He was getting a hard case because he had one game where he fumbled twice, and I think a game before that he fumbled once.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Zeke. I mean, I look at history here to kind of judge him, and through his history, he's been a very solid player. He hasn't had fumbles. He's been a guy who you can pick up the yards with on 3rd and short, get the first down. I'm not even batting an eye at it, man. I think there's just a little dysfunction within this offense. I think it'll sort itself out. He'll pick himself up, and if there is going to be a strong point on this offense moving forward with the weak quarterback play, it is going to be Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, he's fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah.
I mean, Zeke's great, but he lives off that play action a little bit too. And when you have a quarterback that can't do anything, and your defense sure isn't helping you on the other side, you're not running the ball like you should. Your quarterback can't do anything because your backup in the Red Rocket, he's out again. And of course, Dak's not coming to save the day. So you've got DiNucci, and now you got these other guys coming in from who knows where. I don't even know their name.
High school.
Yeah, whatever high school that they just graduated from. So it's like, Zeke, I'm sure, is over there like, what is going on?
They just need to let him wildcat for the rest of the season.
One last thing, Andrew. The coach, they just got this coach. So do you think they're going to get rid of him already, or just give him a year or two chance to turn this around?
Let's be real. Mike McCarthy got fired from Green Bay because there were issues in the locker room involving him, which I think Aaron Rodgers was a little bit of an instigator on that. Like, I'm not trying to put it all on McCarthy. Rodgers is an asshole. It is what it is. But, yeah, drink to that one. But he also got fired for his boring offense. You had all these playmakers in Green Bay, and he wasn't able to get them the ball. This offense was subpar, performing below where it should, and it was all on his shoulders. Now, he comes to Green Bay, he comes to Dallas, and I don't necessarily think we're seeing the same thing. The offense has looked fantastic with Dak Prescott, with the system quarterback that you have here, and all the receiving talent, and your offensive line's great, your running back's fantastic. Man, he was making it look good. CeeDee Lamb, the rookie, was coming out of games with 2-3 touchdowns, just looking phenomenal. I mean, he was doing what he was supposed to do here, so I'm not necessarily going to blame him. But when it comes to his hire at defensive coordinator, man, I think at this point heads need to roll.
So you're saying there's a chance?
McCarthy, let's be real. McCarthy's going to get a pass. He got a pass as soon as Dak went down, and then Andy Dalton came in and got hurt too. And now they're on their 3rd, 4th, 5th string quarterbacks, and they're in that mode. He got a pass. And you're right. That defense, if they don't fix that soon, they're still in this. Yeah. It's whoever wins going to back into it, winning the East. But that defense has to do something.
Well, speaking of defenses and coaches, Jeremy, how about the Patriots? What's going on with them?
Man, them Patriots. I tell you what, I think it's finally catching up to them. That Tom Brady efficiency is gone. You bring in Cam, and hey, everybody in the offseason's all on Cam, right? Oh, it's such a good move. They got Cam Newton in here. He's MVP guy. He's back healthy. He's going to be MVP. Oh, he's in that system. He's got that system now with Belichick. Come on, son. It does not look good. It does not look good. Cam is – you ready? Cam's the leading rusher on the football team. Yeah. Okay? That's not what you want to see in the NFL. No. I know it's Cam Newton, okay? It's great. Cam Newton's fantastic for doing what Cam does. But he doesn't need to be your leading rusher.
No.
And your defense has been your strong suit, and then the efficiency of Brady. That's the way it's been with your good tight end play, and then you've got 14 running backs that you give it to, and now he's your leading rusher. Come on, man. That ain't going to work. It's not working. Jarrett Stidham's obviously not your future. He's looked garbage when he's been in there. That's not good.
So are you giving no credence to the offensive, not offensive, the off-season holdouts because of the COVID? They had numerous they're leading the league in defensive players or players holding out because of the COVID.
I don't give them no pass.
Is this because of a deep internal bias against the Patriots, or because of a fact?
Well, I mean, if you want to, it's an opinion. So
it's both.
I got you.
It's fact that they had guys hold out and all of that. That's true. But is it the reason why they've been bad? No, I mean their defense has been okay. But they just played against the Bills. They played a good game, but just
Okay. Well, let me ask this: is there still a question between is it Belichick or is it Brady that created what the Patriots were in the past,
I just
so
think that
years?
they're in a rebuilding year. In all honesty, I wouldn't look at this. I don't think any Patriots fan should have been looking at this as the year that you can plug it. You can plug anybody into that system and
Okay.
be winning. No,
And
no.
that's what a lot of people were saying. You can plug anybody because of Belichick. Also, my thing is, you bring in Cam. I don't want to get bad and down on Cam, not like that, because I think Cam should have definitely gotten a chance and treated better during the offseason. I think he's shown enough to earn that, but he got dogged out. But with me saying that, Patriots did give him a chance, but the Patriots also was one of the teams that didn't have many to zero
Zero
weapons at all.
None. Who do they have?
And yeah,
They have
so
nobody. They have
so
like some
yeah,
of the
Edelman.
worst running backs in the NFL.
yeah.
It's funny because they're third in the league in rushing, so you can give them that if you want to, but most of that's Cam.
Yeah,
They've got Julian Edelman. I mean, what do they got? They got N'Keal Harry.
he's hurt, and
Man.
Edelman's hurt.
Harry's
He's
looking like a
fourth
bust.
string. He's like
Yeah,
a fourth string wide receiver. He needs help from like a legit one and a legit two.
yeah,
Edelman can be a really good slot receiver. He's not a good
yeah.
X receiver.
And again, I'm not a Patriots fan, but I am giving them more excuses if you want to go with that, with the holdout, especially on the defense. Um, uh, no weapons.
Yeah, to me,
The cap space horrible. They're
Right.
still paying Brady right now, and he's
To
playing
me,
for another team.
it's simple to me. Brady, Cam Newton's not Tom Brady. That's not their strong suits and
Yeah.
their what
Yeah.
they do and what makes them who they are as good quarterbacks. Because Cam's a good quarterback,
Mhm.
but he's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady's
Yeah.
not Cam, right?
Yeah.
They don't do the same thing. Tom
Yeah.
Brady did fit what they were trying to do there, and they overcame a lot of inefficiencies.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny saying it that way because they were very efficient. They did a lot of dink and dunks. They did a lot of stuff schematically
Gotcha.
to get people in bad positions, and then they exploited it. That's not Cam's strong suit, and I think you see it on the field. So
Gotcha,
the
man.
defense is good, but they're not like Denver Broncos. Like, what was the year they went to the Super Bowl, man? Like 2015, 16? I can't remember.
Something like that.
But they're not that kind of defense. You know what I mean? It's not the defense you're going to, like, have you win every game just
Yeah.
about and get you deep in playoffs. So this is a rebuilding year as far as I'm concerned. And the Bills just beat them, so they pretty much have a lock on the AFC East.
I gotcha. All right. Well, this is going to lead to our new part of the episode. Will we hand it off to the quarterback and do a quarterback sneak and go for it? Or go ahead and give it to the other team and punt?
Sometimes the best place to punt.
Now, our topics for that is how about your boy Le'Veon Bell with the new Kansas City Chiefs? His debut against his old team, the Jets. Go for it or punt?
Go for it. Le'Veon Bell is a generational back, as he calls himself, a once-in-a-generation back. His talent was snuffed out with the Jets there. Their terrible offensive line. They have no weapons. Their quarterback is seeing ghosts. Put him on a team that can actually utilize him, and he is getting 6 yards per carry. Lev Bell.
The leading rusher in that game, Andrew, was Frank Gore's old ass with 10 carries and 30 yards.
I think that's just like his full middle name too. Old ass.
Old ass.
Frank
Old
Oles.
ass.
All I'm saying is yeah, it's fantastic for Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
His prime years seem to be past. I know that the Jets were just god awful,
Yes.
but now you've got so many weapons. He's gonna get like 6 carries a game, and if he was ever to go off, it'd have been that first one. They should have at least get him a touchdown, against the Jets. But I mean, yeah, he just went somewhere to get a ring. So a once in a generation type running back, I think not.
Yeah. And let me explain this to our viewers. When I say go for it, I mean, we're going to talk about that something that needs to be talked about. Or if they say punt, I mean, there's nothing pretty much to talk about, and we'll move it on. So, on to our next topic. The Vikings, 1-5, got beat by Green Bay Packers. Go for it or punt?
Punt.
Punt.
Yeah, we can't keep it moving. Our next topic, the Titans. The 5-2 Titans lose against the Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. We're going to go for it or we're going to punt?
Oh, I'm sneaking this one, baby. I'm going for it.
All
So, Titans. I had I passed on you to begin this season. I said, Ryan Tannehill is not your guy. I said, Derrick Henry, he's not going to be able to do anything with a one-dimensional offense, this and that. You proved me wrong. You started proving me wrong through like 5 games, and then you lost to the Steelers. I said, okay, that's a hard loss. That's a tough loss. I get it. Somebody had to lose this game. But then to let the Bengals come in and just embarrass you like that, bruh, get out of here, man. Like, I started to believe in you.
The Bengals exposed him a little bit in that secondary because that's all Joe Burrow can do right now is throw and throw and throw and throw and throw and throw, and he got him. So that's just something that they see now. It's better to lose now and figure out that, hey, maybe in a team that's going to pass all over us, we're going to have to do something schematically. And I like Mike Vrabel. I think he is a very underrated head coach to this point, and I like for him to make the move there and fix that up, and we'll see what kind of run they make.
Burrow's
our next one. Pittsburgh Steelers. The undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers dominated the Ravens and beat the Ravens. Go for it or punt?
I'm going to punt, man. What you see is what you get. They're solid. They're
solid.
solid.
Real quick, just to say, just simply that they're the only team that has the chance to run the table. And I was actually just watching something over on TV about it just a little bit ago, but it's going to be a tough matchup. You know, they've got coming forward a couple of teams, but really in the long run of it, they really don't have many teams that are going to push them.
Yeah, they played some dominant games though. Tennessee and against the Ravens and beat them. So
here's one thing: nobody's talking about Big Ben for MVP, right? And I'm certainly he's not been in my mouth, in my breath of that. But maybe you should because last year they were complete garbage without him, and this year they're undefeated.
Yeah,
something to think about.
On to our next one. The 49ers with all these injuries, losing Kittle and Garoppolo. Go for it or punt?
I'm going to go for it, man. I think the 49ers had potential to be great, and I think they would be great if it weren't for all these injuries. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Morris, Tevin Coleman, Garoppolo, Kittle's out for 6 weeks. Yeah, pretty much. I feel really bad for all you 49ers fans. I still expect them to play tough because of this defense, but they're not going to be any more high-scoring affairs. If a team gets a few over on you, it's over with. I can legitimately say this to your franchise, maybe next year.
Gotcha. Yep. Lastly, our Monday night game, Tampa Bay and the Giants. Go for it, a punt.
Oh, let's go for it. Jeremy, go ahead, buddy. I know you want to talk about this one too.
Yeah, I actually don't have a whole lot to say other than the fact that the Bucs they look really good. That's another guy that you have to talk about him in MVP run is Tom Brady. He's looked pretty damn good. He throws the ball down the field. Everybody was talking about him offseason having a noodle arm and all these check down throws. Yes, he's throwing the football, and he's throwing it pretty good. They keep having people knocked up, and guess what? They got AB coming in now. AB, everybody's talking about him living with Tom Brady, and he's in incredible shape. So,
okay.
This game specifically, talk about it.
Let's be real. First thing I want to talk about is of course, I want to roll off your Tom Brady comment. So whenever you have the likes of like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin you have the Avengers assembled there in Tampa. You can literally just throw the ball up anywhere and one of your guys will get it. You can put it anywhere on the field. You can throw it straight up in the air and walk off the sideline and somebody's going to score a touchdown.
He's accurate.
Okay, but one thing I wanted to point out about this game was I liked the call at the end of the game. There was a pass interference call on a 2-point conversion that would have locked the game up and sent it into overtime. It was thrown on the Bucs, and they threw this flag, and then they reviewed it, and they picked the flag up. They made a good call. They realized they made a mistake, and they backed it up. They were able to fix it before the next play went on, and this is how we need to be doing things moving forward. Everybody remembers that terrible call with the Rams and the Saints, and the Saints kept getting screwed, man. Let's be honest.
They get screwed the next year.
Yeah. Hey. So I like this. Let's do more of this. This is a good thing.
Big time, man. Well, that wraps it up for us for another episode of the 3-Man Blitz. I enjoyed it. Please, everybody, listen and watch. And as always, go for 3.
3 fails. And ladies.
Go for 3. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Queasy at RastaLion1131, Jeremy at CheckerboardJ, and me at Jedi Quarterback.